AI, artificial intelligence, is changing the world, and programs like Lensa and ChatGPT are changing the way we communicate forever. And today on NFTs Made Simple, Dragon and I, we're going to make it simple. What do you say, Dragon?
I don't know if I'm happy or sad or scared or excited about this. Let's get into it.
Let's go. DJ, run the tape. NFTs are changing the world, and change can feel complicated and scary. But listen, you don't need a computer science degree. You don't need to learn how to code. You just need practical skills to win.
If you are here, you are in the 1% of humans that are preparing for this major cultural shift. We're going to keep it fun. We're going to keep it light. We're going to make it practical. Welcome to NFTs Made Simple.
Just a reminder, we are not financial advisors. This is not financial advice, and you should do your own research.
Hey, let's get into it.
Right, so Dragon, we're back after a short break to talk about the topic that's all the rage. That's artificial intelligence. And today, listen, over the past few weeks, I've been playing with some of these apps. I've been playing with Lensa, with Midjourney, with ChatGPT. I've even incorporated an AI tool into my podcast production agency. I'm using it on a weekly basis, and it's saving me a lot of money. It's making things much more efficient. So I'm really excited about AI. And, I think today what would be cool is just kind of go through some of the more popular. I can share my personal experiences, and we can talk about how artificial intelligence is going to change the world. So I guess I want to lay it up to you, Dragon. Is there any AI that's gotten on your radar that you're excited about?
I'm excited about it in general, but it's weird. I got to define what excited means, because it's kind of like a combination of excited and nervous, because there's each time technology, it's obvious that technology is moving faster than us right now. And each time technology comes up with a solution that eradicates the necessity and the potential challenges that come from human, behavior and mistakes that we make. Every time I see that happen, I just start to wonder, like, what's our future and things like that. So all of a sudden, and I don't know what it is, like I've seen little glimpses of it come. Like I was telling you in the pregame that I found an app, just for instance. Of course we know about, Siri and Alexa and all that stuff. But I use an app that, I could program some parameters into it and get a group of hashtags to use for my social media. And then there's other concepts of where we look at social media and we can see that social media is learning about us. I just saw an article the other day. I don't know if you heard about this, but TikTok, which I believe is owned and operated and controlled by some folks in China.
The CCP,
China.
Yeah.
And there's just natural fear about that. But when it was Joe Rogan like kind of looked under the hood and learned what TikTok is gathering from information from people and working the algorithm and stuff like that. But the two main things that I see happening right now that's fascinating to me, I'm a content creator, I'm an author, so there's that. But then also I'm a father and my children are in the education system. So the two main things that I'm curious about and interested is how this is affecting content creation and social media, right? And then also the education system. So I'm excited to get into some of that stuff.
Yeah. There's two apps in specifically that I really want to hone in on because they've gone absolutely massively viral. And to your point, both of these apps are very creative, which historically, when we think about robots, we ask it to do B and it just does it. But now it's like creative and it's kind of choosing its own path, which is really interesting. And to your point, artificial intelligence is going to displace a lot of jobs. There's going to be a lot of careers that exist now that ain't going to exist in 10 years. And that's one of the reasons why I'm really happy and proud of what we're doing here with NFTs Made Simple, because we want to give our listener, we want to give you the tools so that you kind of can get a sneak peek as to what's coming and start to adjust what you're doing now.
Yeah.
So let's start by talking about one of the programs that's gone mega viral. It's an app called Lensa. And essentially what Lensa does is it's an art app. You download the app on your phone, you upload 10 to 20 images of yourself, and it'll take those images and you'll generate fresh images, computer images of yourself in different settings. Now, this app in October had 340,000 downloads. In November, just under 2 million downloads. And as of recording, we're only halfway into December, and it has just under 6 million downloads. It's going absolutely bananas.
I want to say
bananas.
for the record, though, to our listeners, this is how viral things happen. I didn't even know about this until I saw the Mark Savant post all of his handsome pictures from Lensa. So I just want to give him credit that much of what I know about this started from him.
Well, and I kind of jumped on the trend because I saw everybody else doing it, and I'm like, this is interesting. This is fascinating. I'm a creator. I like art. And, for everyone on YouTube, you can see I'm sharing my screen here, and the art is amazing. It's very detailed. It looks frankly very cool, but it also gets really weird. It gets weird. Like, this image is me with a very strange face in some sort of weird space capsule. I've got multiple arms holding these weird technological robotic tools. It's very strange. This image is like an MC Escher photo where like my arm is jetting out of my leg.
That one scared me. I got to be honest with you.
Freaking weird. Now, some of them are super cool, very interesting, but like some of them are weird. Like, what is this picture? It's me in the middle looking really freaking amazing and awesome. And then these weird, strange, like female entities with crystal heads around. It's so strange.
I think this kind of looks like one of the visuals I had when I was doing ayahuasca in Amazon. I think I actually saw that happen.
I bet. So, this Lensa app is super cool. It's super creative. And again, I think what's interesting to me is if you're in the graphic design business, if you're an artist, how do you compete with this? I was able to generate 100 really interesting, cool, creative graphic images in less than 10 minutes. And all I had to do was upload 10 photos.
Was it free?
It was not free, but not very expensive. It cost me like $5.
$5 or $6 a month?
Yeah, they have a subscription model, which gives you a free trial. And then what you do is you upload your 10 photos and it goes through like an avatar creation process. It takes about 15 minutes or so, and it generates 100 different styles, different images, different styles of images. And they range from being like super badass to being like really weird. Like, what are these robots thinking about? Very strange.
Let me ask you a question, because I haven't done this yet. And to be honest with you, I really want to, but at this point, like, I feel like if I do, everybody look at me as jumping on the bandwagon, right? So if I do create these pictures, I'm going to hide them. But when you created these pictures, because on the topic of AI, because artificial intelligence is kind of like, where we're moving into this place where technology is going to be able to interact with us, as if it's human, right? And interesting to think, I wonder if humans are actually, a form of artificial intelligence. If you buy into the simulation theory, we could be just artificial intelligence, and here we are trying to create artificial intelligence. Another episode. But Mark, from the standpoint of somebody that created those images, what was the value of seeing yourself in, a super, like, almost superhero state? Like, what was the value that brought to you, and what's the context that you could use that in social media?
Well, listen, we look at the social media world. The rule of thumb is content. You need to be creating more content. My team is producing dozens, if not hundreds, of pieces of art every single week. Over at Mark Savant Media, we're producing podcasts, we're producing thumbnails, we're producing social media content. And, if I can, so let's say, and I had this conversation with my production team just today. We had a meeting right before the session. I said, listen, this is what's happening, y'all. now's the time to step up. You're going to need to learn new skills to stay relevant, because if you're competing against a robot that is aggregating tons and tons of data points and can create really amazing titles and thumbnails for, let's say, YouTube, how are you still a valuable part of? You're going to get knocked out of the supply chain. You're going to get knocked out of the value chain, because I can download an app that's whatever, $50 a month or maybe less, and I can create all the images that I need for me and my clients. So where do you fit into that? So, long story short, I pay for them to get books. If they want books or software or training, I pay for that because I want them to be successful. But, we live in a content-driven world. And if a robot, and as a business owner, one of the most expensive expense, the biggest expense is people. Mm. So, as a business owner, we're always looking at ways to increase profits. And if I can have a robot do it, and it means less people to manage, that's just what's going to happen. And I don't say it as doom and gloom. I say it as, if you're in the creative space, you need to start being aware. You start thinking about these products and figure out how does it factor into what I do as a creator?
What's interesting is one of the things that are going to need to happen, because Elon Musk kind of was the guy that brought this topic onto the dance floor, that, when it comes to virtual reality and AI, we're very, very close to the point where we won't be able to differentiate whether or not we're talking to an AI or we're in a virtual reality world, which brings to light the idea that I said before that we might already be in one. But when we look at AI, nothing has done this yet, but you would have to pass what's called the Turing test, where, you would actually, with a curtain, you're talking to a human being and an AI, and not know which one was which, right? So that would be passing the Turing test. What's interesting about content creation is we're now in a world where you're reading content. It's already happening. You're reading content that might have been generated by an AI platform that you think was created by a human. So one of the controversial things that I am very, very interested in, because I'm into human behavior, is when you look at the creative process now. I mean, Mark, I remember when we started NFTs Made Simple, you and I were like, hey, who's going to create the notes and the content, and it's got to be done right, because Mark's a little bit anal with that stuff. You have him to thank for all that stuff. But now, like you said before, that is something that can probably already be generated by AI. So how do you feel about this new version of the creative process, where you don't have to actually think of an idea and then put the work in and create it, right? You actually just have to be in the creative process. All you need is an idea. Like, you can go into Canva right now, and rather than search for an image, just type in the letters, I want an elephant flying through the sky, and boom, the image will come up. So now with these content creators, I can actually come up with an idea, a general idea, and then create this content. How do you feel about that? That a lot of the stuff you're reading right now was not actually created by a human, just the idea of it was.
Well, it is already happening. Yeah. It absolutely is already happening. Which kind of is a great segue into the second major program that's absolutely exploded. Hey, what's up? Mark here. Just want to take you on a quick break with a resource I think is really going to help you. Some of the concepts that we're covering in the show sound really complicated and really technical. But listen, you don't need to code. You don't need to get a master's degree in computer science. All you need to do is have the right resources. We're going to make it simple. We're going to make it easy. I've got a link below. Go to www.nftsmadesimple.com. That's nftsmadesimple.com. You're going to get a free cheat sheet there. It's 100% free. What are you waiting for? Go get the cheat sheet. We're going to break down some of the key definitions in ways that are really practical and really simple. Go to nftsmadesimple.com right now to get your free cheat sheet. That's nftsmadesimple.com. All right, let's get back into the show. In November, it got over 1 million users in 5 days. That's faster growth than Facebook, than Instagram, than any tech platform out there. And this app is called ChatGPT. ChatGPT. And what this program does, is essentially allow you to type in a question or an idea or a thought, and it will write out creative content creatively what it's about. I'll give you a perfect example. I was playing with this app the other day, and I asked it, tell me a funny story about hairless cats. And it wrote out this hilarious story about these hairless cats going to the beach, and then the cats that had fur were making fun of the cats that didn't have fur. And it was so bizarre, but it was so easy to do. There's another creator that I'm friendly with. His name is Owen Video, and he had a similar experience. He went into the app, he typed in, write me 5 Twitter posts about creating YouTube content. It gave him 5 Twitter posts. In fact, doing the research for the show, which we're going to have links below, I was reading an article about ChatGPT, getting some data points and whatnot. And so I'm reading through it. At the very end, it said, oh yeah, and by the way, the last 250 words were all written by ChatGPT. And I had no idea.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, that's another version of the Turing test getting passed. We might not be able to pass it right now verbally with an audio experience. But it's working because people are reading stuff and they think it's created by humans. That is amazing. So, anything else on the social media content front? Because I want to get into education.
Yeah. Well, again, I just think that when you're scrolling through social media, and listen, social media is, I'm not going to say it's not fun, but it becomes a job when you're in my business, right? Which is creating lots of social media content all the time for multiple accounts and multiple professionals. It's a lot of freaking work. And again, coming at this from the perspective of a production agency at Savant Media, we produce podcasts for clients. Finding people that can write good copy at an efficient cost is very difficult. It's very difficult. And, it's very difficult. So when I look at an app like ChatGPT, either myself or I can hire someone to just type in an idea, and then ChatGPT will write out the entire program. They'll write out the entire thing for me at a fraction of the cost, which again is where a lot of humans get displaced, because if you're in this industry, you're going to be displaced. ChatGPT can even write code. So back maybe, I don't know, a year ago, people were tearing, when truckers were complaining that their cars were going to be self-driving, people would say, learn to code. That doesn't work anymore, because now you can go to the app and say, hey, write me a line of code that will perform this function. ChatGPT can do that. And furthermore,
I just have one quick concern as a dad, the whole Fortnite / my kids are into this thing called Gods of War now. So our kids are all living in that world that's going to feed, conveniently into the metaverse. But there's certain things that, Mark, you and I did as kids that our kids don't even understand or know anymore. Like, walk up to a kid that's like 8 right now and ask him if he's got a CD-ROM. Like, at this point, he won't even know what that is, right? So now the young kids are growing up. We didn't have Google search when I was in school. Like, I think I didn't even have friggin' internet when I was in college. There was no cell phones or anything. Like, we used to go to the library and like search microfiche. I don't even know if anybody knows what that is. But now kids are growing up with these new tools to create content and things like that. And my fear is that, the governing bodies of the AI content and also the socialization of social media, which we know kids can get roped into, it's kind of like another way that kids are just going to fall in line with society as well. Like, I almost feel like the future of our children is that technology is going to be telling them what to do. Without that, they're becoming less and less involved in the creative process. So when we get into education, I'll talk about that. But that's one of my concerns is how this is going to feed into obesity, which is, my coaching company will like that. But, there's a lot of problems that Americans have, the world has right now, that requires that we do more work and we get up and we get outside and things like this. all of these innovations are making things easier and easier and easier, but I think they're going to make things harder for us in the future.
The people that I think adopt the technology and learn how to leverage it are going to win big.
Like NFTs, yeah.
Like NFTs, right. And just as an example, I've started leveraging an AI tool called Capshow to help write show notes for podcasts. And it saves me a lot of time. It saves me a lot of money. I don't need to hire someone, pay them $2-3 a minute to write show notes. It's a great tool. Now, that said, the tech isn't there yet because it still makes a lot of mistakes. It'll write weird stuff, or it will, maybe just not really understand what's being said. It's not there yet for certain applications. But to your point, we've seen how much it's grown. We've seen how many people are using it, and it's only going to get better. Now's the time to start learning and listening. And I think that's why listening to shows like NFTs Made Simple, where we've got our finger on the pulse, is going to help make sure that you do win. So, Dragon, what do you say? We've talked about the two big viral apps that have gone live. Why don't you say we start a fresh episode, move on to the next episode, and we could talk more about the actual implications, the positive, the negatives, and go deep on AI. What do you think, brother?
Like it.
All right. Thanks for listening to NFTs Made Simple. We will catch you very soon, where we're going to go into part 2 of how AI is going to impact your world.